welcome to this year's British Beauty Week. I'm delighted to be here on this very sunny but hot day. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Perdita Noor. I am the editor of Women's Health magazine, and I am delighted to be joined by these three fabulous women who represent some of the UK's leading voices in the spa and wellness industry. So we have Sarah Bacon, who is head of spa and salon at LMS. We have Helena Chief Operating Officer at British Beauty Council and former General Manager at the UK Spa Association, and then Sarah Camillo, publishing and founding editor of European Spa magazine. Guys, welcome. So we're here today to talk about the new era of wellness and what that entails, with kind of a specific nod to the new stress hangover. So obviously it goes without saying that the global pandemic over the last year has taken its toll on our mental health, 3 lockdowns and counting. And we know it's been a particular strain on women, so I've got some stats here, and they're actually sort of not shocking, but we know that women are suffering a lot more. And so the campaign group Compass found that mental distress among women was up 49%, and it was higher between 2017, it's been higher than it was in 2017. Research from the Office of Stats found that 7.4 million women said loneliness affected their well-being, particularly those with young children. And King's College London found that 63% of the UK have reported having worse sleep since the first lockdown. So when we think of these stats, is this what we mean by a stress hangover?
Well, I'm going to talk from a spa industry perspective because stress, I think people understand that term, but stress hangover is probably not one we're using in spa. However, the comeback, there's been a huge comeback in people returning to spas, which we thought wouldn't happen last year when everyone was afraid to touch anyone, and actually it's the polar opposite, which is the power of touch has become so prominent now. The spas are really overloaded with people wanting massage. Massage is huge. It always has been, but I think you're quite right to say that lockdown created quite a few mental health issues as well, which is really important for us all to understand. And I think the spa industry has really responded very positively to this. So there's been huge innovation and change in terms of menu engineering and retreats, and the offer is changing very rapidly.
It's interesting about the power of touch, isn't it? Definitely, in terms of that's what we've really craved, and that also ties into the loneliness aspect, isn't it? So that's not too much of a shocking thing to hear about.
No, I think it's great. It was a long period of time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Heightened levels of stress and anxiety. People went through so many different experiences and traumatic experiences. A lot of people lost their jobs or suffered illness and so many different things. I think 18 months is a really long and significant period of time, isn't it? To experience kind of that heightened, what the corona comes from, it was cold, wasn't it? To be kind of going through that kind of up and down situation in such a long period of time. And we all know the impact that stress can have on the body and your own well-being. So I think that opportunity to really look inward and review your own kind of well-being and look at your own self-care and how you need to look after your own self has become really prominent, and I think that's why we're seeing that rush back to going for services, and particularly the spas. I know that's everybody I'm speaking to, and Sarah, the spas are just inundating back to back with everybody wanting massage, and it's like everyone's just seeking touch, relaxation, just ways to kind of just get themselves through kind of everything they've been through. I think being connected, it's a long time to go without, even if you weren't engaged with that aspect before you were having services, and people have kind of had any kind of contact with you, and maybe spent a lot of time alone or been isolated, and I think it's made people really kind of seek
out those treatments.
that more so now than ever before.
Yeah, that meantime.
Agreed, and I think touch therapy has been so popular. We try to innovate and pivot and develop a whole no-touch treatment menu, thinking that's what people would want. They were scared, they were nervous, and we spent months developing this amazing no-touch treatment, which did do really well for the first 2 to 3 months post-lockdown 1 and then lockdown 2. But by lockdown 3, they were exhausted with no touch, and they wanted to be touched. They wanted that touch the therapist, that wellness approach, and this pure aromatics on the skin. And actually, again, we've seen a huge change and shift. So actually, we've developed our permanent treatment menu, which will launch next month, and it's been about condensing it because, a customer wants a bespoke service. They don't want 20 different services to pick from. They want a therapist to sit down, speak to them, address their concerns, connect with them as a person, and then say, well, this is the treatment for you today. If you want to feel that way, this is what I can do for you. And I think for us, it's been a real learning curve. And to Sarah's point, massage, again, it's always been very, very busy, but there's always been a bit of a split between face and body in spa. But body's probably 80-90% at the moment. Yeah. Face is coming back. High street face is definitely back. People wanting those results. But again, for us, it's like, how do we advance our body? How do we go into results-driven body as well as just the wellness? Because I think everyone's a bit of both. They want the results, but then they want to feel good at the same time. So yeah, it's definitely been a learning curve for us as a brand.
Are there any treatments that have surprised you that have totally kind of fallen off the radar that people are like, oh no, I don't really want that anymore?
I think from my perspective, wraps and scrubs are kind of, normally summertime, back-to-back with scrubs pre-holiday, and maybe that will come back next year when holidays come back. But yeah, that isn't what people are looking for. They want that physical touch. They don't want to be wrapped up and left with just a little scalp massage or something. Yeah. They're wanting a full kind of head-to-toe treatment that they feel that they get result from, like I say, as well.
Yeah. Okay. And what other treatments kind of people popular at the moment as well?
Again, talking at results from particularly on high street as well. I think so. Talking about spa, day spas, they're looking for innovation. They're looking for LED light therapies. They're looking for that instant glow. So they're not necessarily wanting something that's going to work in 30 days or after 6 treatments. We want it after like 30-60 minutes. So again, with our new treatment menu, it's about 30-60 minute services, but maximising the results in that very minimal time. Because I think we're all still very busy.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say actually. Is it more of a case that people actually want to come and book in to a spa for a day of treatments, or is it that actually 30-minute treatments are pretty much more popular?
I think it's a really good point. I think we get a mixture. Speaking from my own experience, I have my local therapist I go to regularly, and I go for my regular facials, but equally I'm booking more spa days and spa breaks than I've ever booked before, because I want that ultimate, detachment from reality and that wellness and that switch off. So that's why I think we're seeing the high street businesses flourish just as quickly as the spas, because you're kind of craving a bit of both.
Yeah.
Well, at European Spa, we visit spas all over the world, as well as Europe and the UK, and there are very different markets we're talking about here, but I think what we've seen, that one of the positives from the pandemic is this capitalisation of beyond the treatment room well-being, which is that you go somewhere to be with experts, well-being experts. It could be expert therapists or estheticians, but you're also going to look at movement and the active side and how to improve your preventative health. And I think that health is the new wealth. It's not pampering and luxury now, it's about living the best life. So what we're seeing is a huge uptick for particularly for stays at spas where you're going to learn something. So it might be a nutritional program that includes beauty services as well, or it might be that you're there because there's a huge amount of new retreats for spiritual and mental health. The stuff that maybe before was considered woo-woo isn't now.
Okay. That things like meditation.
So meditation and mindfulness, but also taking wellbeing services and expertise outside, which obviously with the pandemic, being outside, everyone wants to be outside, we're all reconnected with nature, but really exploring those modalities that can give you tools for life. So I think that as an industry worldwide, the wellness economy is estimated to be 4.5 trillion. And the beauty industry, and those stats come from the Global Wellness Institute, but the beauty industry is a huge, and spa within that is a huge driver of innovation and change. So yeah, it's a very exciting time, I think, for spas and the beauty industry to really unite and demonstrate that expertise.
The spas are fully booked, like everybody has got a situation where they need to recruit therapists to get them to increase their capacity at the moment, which is great. That's a positive sign. I think there's going to be a number of different factors, but definitely there's a staycation boom that we're seeing here in the UK across the hospitality sector, which definitely is benefiting the spa side of things. But we're also seeing the number of nights that people stay in the property increasing as well. So where previously people might go for a day spa or one night spa, we're seeing much more of an increase in people doing longer stays and adding on short nights and going and experiencing services and using the spa and the outside experiences over a long period of time. So I think that shows that kind of shift in that, like you said, the wellness economy, that true kind of the currency of wellness and well-being, that it isn't just going to the spa for a treat, it's actually going to invest in their own wellness and well-being. And it is additional things like obviously we're seeing that continued increase in the massage, but other things in the services as well. Forest bathing is a lot of spas now, so really embracing their outside space as well, which is fantastic to see.
For those people in the audience that don't know what forest bathing is, what are these like kind of new wave treatments that are becoming more popular? It's just
the forest bathing is big. Well, I think the first one, you might remember this being it was African. What was the first one I was
Here it's a Japanese tradition. So there's an amazing website called scienceevidence.com, which was put together by the global spa industry to give evidence and modalities, because that's the other thing, we've got science behind therapies, and we need to lose the woo-woo label. But yes, forest bathing is a serious modality, and it's about using nature. It's about, like blue therapy, use nature for healing. So I think what we're seeing is there's a requirement. People want to learn more about themselves. They've been taking a journey this 18 months, but they also are prepared to invest in their health. So that's where, and our people in our industry are really skilled and able to deliver that. So it's really
No, it's exactly what I was going to know. It's great to see that, we've had absolutely beautiful spas in stunning locations, and we've underutilised all of that space around us. So it's really fantastic now to see so many of the spas embracing the outdoor space and the opportunities to really kind of enhance their offering, because we were always kind of very much restricted in the footprint of the buildings that we were in, and now everyone's really taking the opportunity to embrace that, which is wonderful to see. And that's the connection with nature and teaching people to have that sense to take away something that you can go away from. And you can do forest bathing on their properties, so people do guided tours and other things. But it's fantastic to be able to give people a skill that they can use. So if they're having a stressful day, or maybe they're in a situation where they can't have an appointment or go for a service or visit a spa, they can maybe go to their local nature reserve or local forest and actually have that more connect with themselves and have that more mindfulness for themselves in their areas open to them. So I think it's about looking at the bigger picture and making wellness accessible for people as well, not just thinking about it from a traditional service perspective, but really broadening the scope and widening the net of the things that are available to people for their wellness.
do you think that's been an issue previously with spas? Like price point has generally been can be a barrier to access, but actually if you are doing offering and you are teaching things that people can take home with it, surely that's a spotlight that they're trying to shine their services out.
Yeah, well, it's nice to be able to. Previously, I think the spa has always been seen to be less accessible because it really does have a high price point because it's attached to facilities and luxury experience, and maybe seen to be something you go to do for a special occasion or things like that. I think as the diet has shifted, if you think back to when it was health farms to where we are now, we've come such a long way, haven't we? Like the actual journey to where we are now is just like it. I think we'll continue to see the evolution and that, but just so much more, as a means of having things along the way. Yeah,
I think to add to what Helene's saying, it depends where you are in the world, because spa pricing is much more accessible in Germany or Austria, or it just depends where the facility is. And in France, you can be prescribed to go to a spa as rehabilitation treatment. So social prescribing is very new in this country, and they're doing great stuff with it. But we know the British Beauty Council supported the mental health report, which is really interesting about how we can find new ways to avoid the next crisis which is coming, which is the people that weren't looked after during lockdown, because everyone's focus was on COVID. So I think even more so now, making well-being accessible, and it might be through teaching children how to meditate at school, something that's really exciting to see, through to just good nutritional practice, as well as touch therapies. But I do believe we've got an incredible industry that can become the second front line. There is more to it than just it being pampering, luxury, or a kind of elite experience. There's real skill set there with our workforce.
Do you think that message is already starting to trickle through, or that to go on?
I hope so. I mean, one of the exciting things that has happened just in the last few months since they've opened, apart from them being really rammed with everyone wanting treatment, is just the guest mix is changing again. So you're seeing guest staycations that lots of people who normally go away and spend their money on travelling away have taken a nice break here and perhaps discovered spa for the first time. So I know this for a fact because the town and road borders have all gone up in size. So there's two reasons for that. One is slightly bigger people after lockdown, but the biggest one is women's spas. So this is a real opportunity for the industry to really make spa more inclusive, not just on price point, but for the audience. So and it'd be really exciting to see how our therapy teams respond to that and how they feel in the next few months, because I think all of them, we have to think about well-being on team as well, because they've all gone back to 100% capacity and quite a lot of highly stressed guests coming in. So, yeah.
And for those that, because obviously that's amazing to be able to take the time out and get to a spa for a week or a few days, but for those that can't, or for those that do that and they want to incorporate what they've learned at home, what new innovations are we seeing? For example, with Endless, the products that they're offering that we can incorporate into our everyday routines.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point actually, because access to spa or the time or the ability to do that. We create a lot of at-home collections, so from facial at-home collections. We also built a spa-specific collection that can be purchased direct, take a piece of a massage room, which is two of our top sellers, making us super soap and our instant refreshing gel. So actually, if you can go for only one massage a year, you can continue the results at home. So you've not always got to go into that spa environment. But actually also, Noella Gabriel, our co-founder, she always talks about the power of the breath. And then anything you hear about Noella, she always talks about breathing techniques are so important. And you can do them at home. You can be sat on the sofa, taking a moment while your child's running around elsewhere or the dog's barking in another room, and you can just take that mindful moment for yourself. So I think there's things that also don't cost that we can educate, and actually education is, I think, crucial for consumers. Just bring them a little bit closer to what wellness actually means, and that it doesn't directly mean a spa break.
No, it doesn't. No, that's not true. And just sort of like future predictions, what else do we think? Is there any treatments that you guys have discovered in the last few months that you're really excited about that perhaps the audience won't know about?
I think there's in the pipeline a lot of digital mix of, we always have the high-tech, high-touch mix, which is exciting. And we're seeing quite a lot of brand mashups where product houses that are excellent at certain things are working together. So the creativity of lockdown is bringing lots of innovation. But for me, I think one of the most interesting things is seeing the mesh of active and passive. So beauty, inner beauty, moving into the well-being world and seeing therapy teams that were traditionally beauty deliverers, working together with movement coaches, mindfulness coaches, and coming up with new concepts. So they're all fantastic modalities, but coming up with new twists on that. Also, the digital piece has been really interesting. I think LMS has been exceptional at supporting our smart partners, and we've all had to jump into digital in a big way so that we can survive, because we're hardwired to connect. But I've seen some of the big smart brands online do some incredible stuff, which is giving out lots of free content, whether it's yoga classes, giving exposure to their experts, where you can log on. So I think that dual thing will continue to happen, where we'll see how brands connect digitally and in real life. And I do think that we were worried that people wouldn't appreciate the value of a one-on-one treatment, and that might maybe be devalued by digital content, but I don't think that's the case. I think the one-on-one treatment will become more valuable. That bricks and mortar, we call it, treatment. It's interesting to see, even just in life, that retail sales on digital went down as shops opened up. So, we're humans, we like that interaction. Yeah.
It's important that we have that as well, isn't it? Definitely a lot of the spas that I've been speaking to, they're very much kind of pushing that agenda, like Sarah said, about adding breath work and trying to give people that skill to take home, adding in breath work and meditation, starting treatments, and it isn't just about providing that service anymore, it's that completely holistic approach to the well-being of that person. So it's very person-centered, and there's a lot more focus around personalisation. When we were trained as therapists years ago, it was very much, you did A, B, C, D, F, G, and that was a service. And I think it's opened up a lot more now to really give ownership to the therapy team, as we recognise that they've got a very high level of skill and expertise, they're highly professional in what they do. And it's great to see that that's been embraced by brands as well as premises, and how they've designed their treatment menus and really give ownership to the team to be able to do that consultation for that person and really understand what their needs are today, how you can best treat that person, and really build that client-centered journey for that person on that day. And I think that's something that we were missing for so many years ago. When I first trained, we were sick of doing 3F card. We just kept sick of doing the same thing over and over again. I think to give that autonomy back to the team, to be able to really showcase their professionalism and give that guest 100% their skill and expertise and those tips and things to take home as well. It's so important. Like the at-home services that can be provided now for people to really take that away. Very important. It's like the treatments that we provide are fantastic, and it's having that experience and the touch going through that whole scenario is fantastic, isn't it? But nothing's a miracle that well. So to be able to give somebody that lifestyle change, and it is a commitment to their wellness and well-being, and it's that whole piece for me is what's so important. If we can really connect with that person and help support and address their concerns in that experience, we can actually really change somebody's life, and not just for that hour that you might have them with them, but forever. Like if you can truly address someone's needs and meet their concerns and really give them something that's a true takeaway, they can have a life-changing experience and something that they'll continue to do forever. And it can be something as simple as one tip, teaching them some breath work, or giving them amazing skincare routine that they're going to stick to forever. So I think we've got a lot of tools, and our industry's always been a little bit underrepresented and not had the recognition it deserves in terms of the skill and expertise that the therapists do have. So I think it's important that we continue to push and shift the dial on that. I think that's where this has been great, because it's really kind of heightened the importance of the power of touch and what we do and the services that we provide. Yeah. We've got a really good opportunity now as a sector to really push the agenda of that and make sure that we continue to raise the profile, push the education, and make sure we're looking after our people. So that's something we've maybe not had a great reputation in the past for how we look after our people. And we've talked about recruitment crisis and how we don't retain our teams and therapists burning out and all those things. I think we've seen through the pandemic increases on turnaround time between services and for cleaning and things like that. And a lot of the spas are keeping that in their businesses now, which is fantastic to see. And I think that real investment in the team looking at their recovery, their well-being, not just, not just training. It's like it isn't just about that, it's about the whole picture of everything, isn't it? I think we've learned a lot, and I think that's going to be really important for us as we carry the journey through into this movie and now.
Yeah, so choosing a happy therapist and happy client, I guess. Amazing, okay. And would you, as we get experts in the industry, would you recommend, like, for someone that just doesn't even know where to begin with booking a spa, like, what would your advice be? Is it like a sort of a questionnaire they should ask themselves? Is it just that they go on Google and see what takes their fancy?
Well, I think if I was a first-time spa, well, you can't go wrong with Google, can you? It's going to bring you up some fantastic offerings, isn't it? But I think just
make the most of your experience.
Yeah,
I think that's looking out for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you obviously you'd have to look, you understand what your budget is first, but
Yeah.
to get to begin with, I think you just understand what you want. I think if you've never been before and you're not sure what to expect, then you probably can't go wrong with booking a massage or a service that it's an introduction to get into the spa experience, isn't it? I think if you go on a recommendation, like, you can never go wrong. And if you ask someone, go probably in the top 3, I don't know, people say to me, what's your favourite spa? Oh, where? Because I can't choose otherwise. So yeah, recommendation would just get price point and then have a look at the recommendation cap.
And any treatments that you're looking forward to trying? Or that you'll be
Well, I like an experiential spa, so, and we're now seeing investment by some operators here. I mean, a lot of our spas here are just treatment room led, but real spas, as I call them, would have water at the heart of them, and you would have your aqua experiences and thermals and everything. So it's a really amazing thing to do, to take a day out and to go and have a sort of treatment and also a place that you can explore. So yeah, that we have the Good Spa Guide in the UK. That's a great portal to look for things. But I think, if you look at some of the other online options like Queen of Retreats and Spa Escapes, it's good to have in mind what it is you want to achieve. So it might be that you want to go and have a yoga break or a retreat, or what we've seen a lot of at the moment is really specific things like the next wave of development is for life stages, like whether it's menopause, or I even had a press release this week for a new heartbreak hotel. Believe it or not. The other thing I'm really proud our industry is doing is really embracing treatments for people who are living with cancer. Those figures have gone up hugely. Only a few years ago, lots of spas couldn't be open. So we're really proud, and Luna's done lots of work on this too, is to therapists are being trained to deliver cancer treatments, which is amazing. So I don't think you can have a better day out, actually. It's just decide what you want, do some research, ask your friends, and if you, at the end of the day, it's the hands that are placed on you. If you've got a good therapist, it really doesn't matter where you are. It's really about the power of the treatment. So,
And do you think, will there be more of a trend for kind of, families going together and partners as well? We're seeing in terms of the inclusivity aspect. It's like, a gap of girls going for a little after.
well, there's always the celebrations, and then there's couples retreats. But more and more we're seeing programming that's designed for families, because we don't have a lot of time together. So some of the bigger brands that are hotel and resort brands are, they're creating really great wellness programming for children and families together. So you cook together and you learn how to do different things, and you do breath work together. So yeah, there's lots of innovation. But I think on the whole, most people would like to spend time with their families when they're away, and occasionally just escape and have some time on their own. So if you're a good resort, you can cater for both times. But also, I think we must exclude the brilliant work that high street spas are doing. High street salon, straight spa, and also gyms and health clubs. I mean, where you've really got some sophisticated offers where they're bringing the physical and the emotional together with great high quality services, beauty services. So yeah, there's many different types of spa offers. So do your homework and make sure it's the one you want.
And obviously beauty has always been integral to the spa experience. So what's new in terms of that aspect, in terms of people who are results-driven treatments? Do any of us have some new things?
Yeah, I think with results, I think to touch kind of on my previous point, I think there's a lot of consumers that want that result quite quickly, instant. Like I say, we used to talk about our clinical trials over 30 days. Actually, it's what's it going to do for me in 7 days or less now. That's what people want.
What am I going to leave it?
Absolutely, and after treatment, it's how am I going to look in 60 minutes? So not in a course of 4 to 6 weeks. So for us, we're always innovating. So we launched an LED mask last year. That's been really popular. That's an add-on to our existing services. We've actually got a brand new machine that we're launching, which has a new technology, which is cryotherapy, which is extremely popular in the US. The big trend is not quite hit the mark here, so we're kind of going to be one of the first with that. But that's really interesting because it's giving that, it basically freezes the skin, it works to -20, and it gives you that instant tightening effect, that beautiful glowing complexion. But that's, from my perspective, what we're going for results from the sense what we want.
Yeah.
We want to walk away feeling and looking different to what we want to.
Brilliant, thank you. I'm going to open up to questions in the audience. Does anyone have any questions for the panelists?
It's about aromatherapy actually. So I think over the last 18 months that replicating the asthma experience at home is really important. And I think one of the things is how aromatherapy within that mix. And we go to the spa for me anyway, it's very sensitive. It's not just about that aromatherapy, it's the smell, it's the night activity. Do you think that the spa should make a responsibility to actually continue that education?
That's a great question.
I'll answer that, yeah, because I completely agree with you. I think we're very in tune. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, aromatherapy is kind of where it started as a brand years ago. Noella was an aromatherapist. She blended oils, and her passion came from that. That's how this was created. So, for her, it started with body, and then face actually came later. So, we definitely have connected back in tune with our kind of heritage with that. And like I say, education's key. So for us, social media is a great way to educate consumers, and then we have a brand new portal for B2B to educate from that perspective as well. But yeah, I think, again, it touches on the point that I raised earlier about that at home, how you would take a piece of that experience and start home with you. And aromatherapy is an amazing way to do that. So we actually have a new home range launching next year, because as you said, when you walk into a spa, you go, what is that? How do I take that home? At the moment they take home cleansing balm, but soon they'll be taking a can from the hand wash as well. So yeah, I think it's a really good question. But aromatherapy is a key part of this industry, and I'm sure both Alina and Sarah agree with that as well.
Definitely, for me, the therapist I work with, we were rabbits through my career. Not that we do. But yeah, like a lot of them, the sensory journey and that part of the experience, they often have the opportunity with certain brands to select noise at the beginning through smell, and that's really kind of gearing up the consumer to start to understand what their body needs that day. And you can then have the opportunity to explain a little bit more about it and the ingredients and why, and then that really comes in nicely to again being able to purchase those products to take that experience and further that get at home. So I'm trained in all of those, one of the very first things I trained in. And it's something that I still continue to do now when I've got friends who are stressed, got things going on, they're often being essentially going out with the college done. It's great that we have the opportunity and the tools to be able to continue to educate people. I think the more that we do, we share our knowledge and understanding, but we're just going to continue, as I said before, just to shift that direct knowledge and understanding and raise the profile of the professionalism that we've got within our sector, because it's unique. We have got so much knowledge, so much we can share with people to really improve all different areas. It's spiritual, emotional, physical, it's all different areas as well as isn't it? We can contribute so much in so many different things. I know therapy is something that can help contribute in so many ways. It's something really simple. People do home manipulation modes and showers and baths and pillow and body and beautiful oils. It's a fantastic routine.
And again, it's not something that costs a lot of money. It's just about finding that time, isn't it, within your day to take time out and, as you said, sit with your oils and yes.
Oh, please can you take my camera? This is nice, I'll have them all. I think people are more receptive to that, and again, it's that we've almost been deprived of the luxuries and all the things happening. It's almost we get back to surviving now and go, oh my god, how amazing who does this food, I want everything, how we do it. So I think there is an element of that. I mean, you could probably give a bit more insight to what
Absolutely. I think if the consultation's been done thoroughly and you feel connected, then yes. I think if that therapist hasn't done their duty to connect with you, why would they recommend understand or actually being trusted by everything they recommend? You need to trust your therapist to get in touch with some education, but as a brand, we try to bring our therapist community closer to make sure that they feel empowered so they can empower. And I think, I know when I go for a treatment and I have an amazing consultation and an amazing treatment, all I want to do is have it on my gut. I literally throw the cash and say, I'll have it all. Because you want to continue that feeling you get post-treatment, but it's not always on the mark. So I think, yes, there's a space for it, but the therapist needs to do her duty first to get you to that point.
I agree, it's all in the consultation, isn't it? But I think, like I said before, if in the consultation we really personalise it, make sure you're doing what's right for that gets that, then you really understand why they're here and what they want to get out of the experience, and you deliver that and explain that. And when you do the recommendation, it's honest recommendation, it's not recommending some products. How much do you hate that? Like, don't even because it's offensive, you don't want. If it's true and honest and it's really, you are there as a therapist and really, you care about me. I've put myself in your hands as the expert for an hour or 2 hours, however long it is, but you've really stood my needs and addressed my concerns, and you're giving me this really honest, genuine recommendation that I can take away that's going to address my dad's circles and my crow's feet and my cellulite and the fact that I don't sleep at night and I'm a bit stressed right now. You give me this wonder list of all these things and explain to me why they're going to help me when I get home. I'm taking them all and I'm back again. And that's the difference, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. This is for you, and I'm recommending this for you because you told me this is going to do that. And I'm like, hell yeah, back it up. And that's the difference, isn't it? It's authenticity, isn't it?
And I do think that kind of hyper-personalisation of treatments is something that is coming through, has been for a long time. Yes, at the top end of the market, you can go and have a super price point facial, but we'll see spas selling time and expertise. So it's like, I don't know what you really want to walk in on the day, and what you would like is a therapist that can adapt. Yes, it has to be ready for you, but we see a lot more of that. Also, me, I'm a very savvy spa consumer, and I think everyone is now, and we're all much more interested in holistic solutions. And I want to know, we talk about aromatherapy, which I love, and I've been using that at home, and I don't travel without a couple of weeks. So it's once you realise the power of them, and actually I think we need to empower our therapists to be able to have those conversations confidently, and also to deal with people that are wanting to have conversations in the treatment room. Before it was like quietness in the treatment room. When Hong Kong opened, the spas opened there before, when we were all locked down and they opened, the guests came back and they were talking to the therapist as soon as they started working with them. It's like non-stop, and that's really not typically an Asian way of, it was much more quiet. And so I'm talking about Rosewood Spa, but I remember Neve calling me and saying, my goodness, my therapist is coming in and saying, what do we do? That was exhausting. But actually what then happened was those they went through another lockdown, but they've just adapted their treatments to have more consultation time and more connection time. And often, aromatherapy wards are used to do that, asking someone to select how they want to feel, how they want to feel. It's a great conversation starter, which is based on reality. It's always powerful. So, I think we're going to see a lot more conversations in treatment rooms, soul conversations about what people need.
It makes it quite a transaction, doesn't it? It's not just the experience. I think that's probably the biggest trend.
And then if you have a great experience with a therapist, you're going to take recommendations. So that's how I work in life. I think most of us do. If you've got an authentic, brilliant experience and someone who's very expert at what they do, you take their advice.
Any other questions, guys? Yes.
I'm interested to know what your perception of sustainability is for the sector.
Yes, I'll actually answer this one because sustainability is a huge mission for us as a brand. And actually, if you'd asked me that 5 years ago, I would have said that wasn't on our agenda whatsoever. And we were about the formulations, the innovation, whereas we understand that doesn't come without sustainability now. So we actually have a sustainability initiative for the next 3 years to become B Corp certified as well, as to actually evolve our packaging. So we don't want to move away from the luxury that you know of us, but we're finding amazing jars that look identical to the current horticulture green food jar. They're 100% recyclable. We've removed all of our spatulas and with our leaflets from our packaging to save tons of going to landfill every year. Our superfood range is 100% recyclable. So for us, it's really, really key. And actually, we're working on a line of amenities which we're going to into our bedrooms as well. Again, sustainable glass, looking at the introduction of different formulations as well. But we're not the only brand on this mission. I think you'll see more brands and more locations go down the eco-sustainable route. Then you'll see that won't. And I imagine all will follow in line over the next few years anyway. So I think it's a really good question. And I think we're all trying to be more sustainable in our everyday lives, and you want to feel that when you go to a spa also.
And what about social sustainability? Because that's a big thing for businesses, like working with women's co-ops and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've always worked with some select key charities on lots of different missions, but absolutely for us it's about social sustainability as well. And for us as well, it's taking it all the way back to how we source the ingredients. It's not just about the immediate what you see. It's about fair trade. It's working with our farmers. So it's so much more than just that physical jar that you see in front of you. And again, I think brands need to step up to the market and take more responsibility for that.
We as a British Beauty Council as well just launched our sustainability promotion a few weeks ago. So we've got a huge sustainability agenda ahead of us and really trying to lead and champion sustainability across the sector, hair and beauty wide. On our steering committee from this as well, which is fantastic. So there'll be lots of work to do. Sustainability is huge, and it's really now making the decision what change can we make. And it's not something that we can keep talking about for the next 5 or 10 years. We need to start making the change now, and we've got to commit to that as an industry, as a sector, as consumers, as well as we making the industry. We've all got an opportunity to make that change, but we need to start to make the changes now. There's a real kind of sense of urgency that I think if we keep talking about it, we're going to miss the boat now. We're nowhere close to where we need to be in terms of our agenda, globally or definitely for the UK. So I think we as an industry have got a real opportunity to really kind of set the bar and lead the way with sustainability and sustainability initiatives. So if you've not already followed the Sustainable Beauty Coalition, go onto the British Beauty Council page and sign up so you get the updates and newsletters, and we can all champion sustainability together and make sure that we really push forward and move a sustainable way moving forward. So I think everything is service through the way we do things, the way we source ingredients, the packaging, the way that we labeling, the way that we educate the consumer is like there's recycling and labels and things on our packaging that no one would understands. So we've got to start to make it user friendly. Like it's great to have all these initiatives, but we've got to kind of broaden the scope of what we're doing and making sure that when we're making the changes that we're also helping to educate and support the consumer in understanding and making those informed choices, because I think at the moment that's a really difficult thing. So there's two playing fields that we need to kind of get on balance with.
I'd like to add, because I'm a huge single-use plastics, they annoy me immensely. And yes, I'm starting to think I might not go into any supermarkets anymore that give avocados wrapped and stuff. But it's a good question. We're not a sustainable industry at the moment. I think there's very fast wins that people can do without even having to be complex, which is look at the single-use plastics in your operation, see what you can remove straight away. Have a big policy with staff to do that as well. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of great tips coming out from the British Beauty Council. But the other thing that's happening, and it will drive things, is that the conscious consumer doesn't want it. They don't want it. They don't want big boxes and ribbons. What they want is products that have been sustainably created, that have fair trade policies, the B Corps that you were talking about earlier, the take-up of companies trying to meet their amazing standards is huge. So I'm really hopeful that the beauty industry is all about doing good, and I think we'll be leading that. It's difficult because there are so many products that have plastics and so many kind of operational ways we do things that it's hard to change a lot. But I think if everyone just does a few things like stop plastic cups, stop straws, stop using unnecessary plastics in your plastic supplies to be that sort of stuff.
There's a great report as well. On our website, we commissioned a report called Courage to Change, which is all about influencing sustainability. So if you can have a read of that as well, and that's what influenced the decision to form the Sustainable Beauty Coalition. That's a really interesting report to do. But there are lots of tools out there available. If you can sign them out through very large businesses, there's the Race to Zero and the S&P Climate Hub, which are all government set up systems that you can log into now. And there's toolkits on there and resources to help inform you on how you can make more sustainable choices as a consumer and at home, and also in your workplaces and businesses, depending on size as well. So there are some great tools out there already. If you haven't already got some kind of sustainability initiatives, or even if it's just a commitment within your team, or some pledges of small changes that you can make, and whether you can measure carbon emissions even at home, so we'll start to make those little changes that all those things do exist already. So yeah, I ask you all today, if you haven't already, please go away and do that and join us on that mission.
And any other questions, guys? Yes. I work for a company that has a wellness credit, but I wanted to ask your thoughts because unfortunately we don't cover massage or spa treatments or so any advice. I want to push back a little to the HR to see if we can get that covered for myself and for everybody else.
What does your company do? Sorry.
Oh yeah, so I work for a pharmacy.
Yes.
And we're not oncology treatments for immunology. So during the pandemic, we got a wellness credit, which is fantastic. But when I asked about what's covered, we don't cover spa or massage.
It's a shame.
Yeah, so just kind of advice, or maybe if you guys have any data or journals and some research back
Yes, there's several. We've got scienceevidence.com, which is a website that's put together by the Wellness Institute. Yes.
So I'm just trying to get Tilly's attention. Do you want to take this lady's details for me?
Yes. I think that there's huge evidence out there that treatments, massage treatments and modalities can help people, particularly who survive cancer or go through that process. There's also the SSATC. Don't ask me what it stands for.
It stands in cancer touch
Treatments.
Yeah, I always do.
Sorry.
It's a new association that it's a registration for therapists and centres who are trained to provide specialist services for people who have been or are currently cancer services. And it's absolutely fantastic to have that register in place because even if we just shift the back 10 years ago, if you tipped you had cancer on your consultation form, so these things are always going anywhere.
Yeah.
Contraindicated, I'm afraid you can't have that sometimes. And as we said on the way, but it's great that we've seen that shift in that. To have that registry in place is wonderful because it means that we can really signpost people to the right place. And again, that just shows the way the industry is going in that positive direction and embracing inclusivity and that way making sure that we are accessible to everybody.
And the SSATC, they also put together all the top cancer specialist trainers that are producing treatments. So I'm quite sure if you send them a note, they'll put you in the direction of facilities or treatments. We'd like to see that cut on spa treatments. So I think that it's a very valid service to help people, whether it's with mental health or physical conditions, for sure. So one day, that's the next mission.
Yeah. We did some work, Sarah mentioned a little while ago, mental health people that we supported with, and that's also really fantastic insights and it's linked to lots of research papers and really kind of demonstrates the benefits of various touch therapies and services within that. And what it did was actually highlight the fact that we do need, additional UK-based research so we can have clinical trials and get recognition. So things like the social prescribed initiatives, which are fantastic, and we're seeing a lot more being driven through the fitness and activity sector in terms of GP referral and things like that. But it isn't something that has passed through to us yet. But we know that the services that we can provide can really hugely benefit people through lots of different mental health and kind of illness and things like that, and really kind of support and complement the medical side of things as well. So like Sarah said, I think very well that we have a second from line. The NHS is obviously been for a while, it's not going to be in great shape for a good while to come there. So to be able to provide the services that we've got and really complement and support that with what the services we provide will be fantastic. So yeah, there's a lot that we can still do. We'll just continue to go and keep banging on the drum, making sure that everybody understands how wonderful we are. And yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
I work with the spa industry, mostly like CBD products and treatments. I noticed you said a change in not just the skincare, but more about the like inside delivery, like your diet and stuff. Do you see a change in the spa industry? Maybe go more of that kind of stuff, like your diet and nutrients than you have before.
Yeah, definitely people are embracing that holistic health. It isn't just about going for a service, and I think people do expect that. Definitely. Sarah said, obviously a lot of the leisure facilities as well, where they might be, personal training, the gym, whole program of wellness, and it is about that whole piece, isn't it? So it's your nutritional health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your physical health, and it's how we can really kind of bring all that together. And I think it's really nice that we're seeing a lot more crossover with that, a lot more facilities and embracing all those other things. So the nutrition side of it has been something that I think was really high on the agenda for a few years and then kind of dropped away a little bit. And I think we're starting to see people back in it. Definitely over the last few years, if you just look at the spa resident menus, for example, we've definitely seen a lot more of a shift in terms of like healthy eating. It was always looking at afternoon tea was risen. Yeah, great, we're all over it. I'm really happy to have an afternoon tea, something like that. But there's definitely that wellness offering and really looking at that whole piece, and I think it goes back to the concept of it, looking at the whole customer experience and the whole journey, and it is about nutrition as well, isn't it? So people want to, it's look good, feel good, the whole piece, isn't it? So I don't think we can necessarily kind of ignore that, and we've seen a real increase in supplements and those kind of things over the past few years as well. I take some every single day.
I think just to add to that point, actually, so some of the spas have been doing this for years, but behind closed doors, I think they've been very quiet about it, because they're shouting about it now. But I'll use Champneys as an example. They were one of the first out there who really kind of set the mark and set the standard for being a retreat, and that's what they are. You don't just go there with a fluffy robe and eat afternoon tea. You can't get alcohol in that place, I've tried. You can't get it.
Claire's banned
I'm banned from getting on. But you know, they have the mindful plate. So you take a plate at lunchtime, it tells you how much veg you should have, how much protein, and I think it's so simple. And actually you can buy that, take it home. I think if you're going there for education, how great, like how to start. They're not about calorie controlling, because we all know that that's, you know, that's hard and it's not always sustainable, but it just teaches you that mindfulness and to, you know, really respect your body again, about portion control. And then again, they do retreats, and they'll do like a retreat where you can go there for kind of weight loss, but it's not that, it's about educating about how to introduce 30 minutes of exercise into your day, and again, how it suits your lifestyle as an individual, and not just about, you know, the person next to you, how it's going to suit them. Again, that tailored, bespoke approach. So I think there's people that have been doing it for years, but we're just starting to see it being spoken about more, and see it in the press and the media, and actually see it promoted as a wellness day, rather than you only finding out from calling them and kind of connecting with them. So they're one of the first, but I think there's lots of others doing it really well as well at the moment.
Anyone else? No? Oh, well, thank you so much for such a brilliant audience, and what an amazing panel. I think we'll have